touched on this last time you were here when we were at the Jazz Kitchen doing the Q&A about sampling, which is really the essence of hip hop. That's how everything started, because cats couldn't afford to have a band. They didn't know how to play instruments, so it was really about the samples, and it kind of got away from that for a little while, and it's back with certain producers, you being one of them. Then my whole thing, I always like to go through the notes and see where'd that come from, how they flip that. But since this is a barbershop, we're being real. I look through the stimulus package.
Yeah.
I see, of course, you got to give credit to Rick James.
Yeah.
Because that's I think they pick up on that one.
Yeah.
But I'm hearing a couple other things.
Yeah.
In there that I can't quite place, and I'm not exactly sure where they came from, and I can't find them in a lot of notes.
You're not going to see it.
Okay. Like I know we have several beat makers here who basically who sample.
Yeah.
It can be expensive. How do you get around it? How do you tell a beat maker to get around it? Because I know some people are like, hey, try and catch me.
I mean, it's some of that, and then sometimes, it's hard because when you start dealing with it on that level where you're worrying about that shit, it kind of affects what you're doing creatively. And I don't really like to even think in that way, but there's definitely times where I'll make a beat and I'll take something out of it because it's just too flagrantly obvious what I did. You know what I mean? A lot of the songs on the stimulus package are a bunch of stuff put together. It's not one record, it's from all types of sources. It's live, it's samples, and various, samples, not just like all off the one joint. It's crazy because I've been sued a couple times, but I've gotten away with so many, you know what I mean? That it's kind of like, I wouldn't even know what to say. I mean, but when you get sued, you always get sued for something like totally stupid. You know what I mean? I got sued for a scratch on my album, and I probably had 50 unclear sample on the album, and I get sued for a scratch that I didn't even have to put in the song. You know what I mean? It wasn't even essential at all. It was just something extra I threw in there just because I felt like it.
Right.
So.
Taylor Rock.
Huh?
Taylor Rock.
Yeah, to the rock, man. Whoever owns that, they got
It's
that.
yours.
Oh wow.
Got at me over. It's yours. And that's it. Never mind the other 8 samples I had on the beat. Way more crucial to the song. That's the shit they got me for. So I mean, it's one of those things where I guess it also depends on what level you're doing it. Like I didn't think my album was gonna reach as many people as it did. Honestly, it really didn't. So it's a good and a bad thing. Like it's great that it got out there and it sold a good amount of copies, and people want to license it and all this. But there's been things where I had to be like, no, we can't do that because there's definitely some risky material on there. I had a couple of opportunities for commercials that we just didn't do because of that. But I mean, it's what I do. I'm not gonna stop doing it.
Speak on a little bit
I'll sell them hand in hand.
About your new game, your session game.
Oh man, I don't know if we're gonna expose on that.
You good?
All right, so
in the barbershop,
just a little bit.
For instance,
Turn the cameras
I
off.
can talk about some of it. So I don't know if you guys heard his album, Free at Last. You guys probably familiar with that. There's a song that I did called It's Over, where I used the David Porter record called Masquerade Is Over. It's like been sampled a million times. Biggie, Who Shot Ya? Yeah, it's a RZA. RZA might have had a song on there. Ghostface. Jizza had one. Wu-Tang, they got in with that song. But around the time he was doing that album, I met this dude that was actually Ghostface's A&R. And he had a link with the people that own the whole Stax catalog. So they had the idea to transfer all these songs and give you the individual parts. So you go in, you have the bass, the voices, the piano. It's crazy. It's definitely a whole different way of looking at it. So I got that one and I made that beat. And like when people heard the beat, they were like, "How'd you do that?" You couldn't do it off the record. It wasn't really possible. So, you know, I have a bunch of those. So that's another way. I'm kind of putting things together in like a cut and paste way. A lot of those with different songs. And I even forget sometimes what I did. Like I did a song on Shine's new album. I did like, 3 or 4 songs. One of them, I had no idea what the vocals from. I can't remember what session it is. And I'm like, I thought it was Sweet Inspirations. I listened to all their songs. It's not on there. So sometimes I get myself in trouble by doing shit like that, out tricking myself. You know what I mean? It's like a guy trying to like dribble behind his back and dribble out of bounds. You know?
Yeah. Well, you know, one of the things I think, you know, I want to know is, you know, you guys have worked before. You worked on his album, and you know, you've done some work on each other's albums. What made you say, okay, let's do a whole joint together? Was that your idea? Was it his idea? Who was the you know, the mastermind who said let's get together and put something together called the Stimulus Package?
I mean, well, when I like after Free at Last was over, and, you know, it came out and did what it did. I said I'm not gonna sit around and wait like how I did with the last album. I felt like it was time for me to start working immediately. And Jake was just sending me a bunch of heat. And I was just knocking joints out, sending them back. So I'm like, yo, listen to this, listen to this. And he was coming up with so much material. He was like, you want to do an album together?
Yeah, it was really that simple. We had probably started with 10 songs before we even decided we were going to do the album. But it was also like, you know, he had did a couple songs on my album, and it was the Rhyme Sayers thing was there. He was trying to get off Def Jam because, you know, I mean, if he'd have stayed on Def Jam, he might not even have had an album came out at this point. He'd still be like working on whatever the fuck it was going to be. And they could be like, well, if he was on Def Jam, they'd have been like, okay, that's cool, but can we put Trey songs on this? And you know, you might want to go do one from Will I Am. I mean, who knows what they would have told you? Because that's, you know, that's their game. You know, they need a record to go to the radio with. So we kind of just threw all that shit out the window and just ran with what we wanted to do.
Independent. Like, do you think that kind of freed up the creative process to where you can say, okay, we're going to make a cohesive piece of art. We're not going to worry about the radio. We're just going to go ahead and do what feels good to us. Is that where you see a lot more freedom in that? I mean, I know a lot of people are like, man, I just want to get signed. I just want to get signed.
Yeah, it definitely is. But the one thing about like Rockefeller, we had creative control too, like that. Like when I did Philadelphia Freeway, it was on me. Like, I did what I wanted to do. You know what I'm saying? So the Rockefeller part of Rockefeller Def Jam was definitely a lot of creative control. But then when the whole breakup happened, and then it was just Def Jam, that's when it really was on your back.
Like you say, it's like trying to pick your favorite kid. What's your favorite beat you've done so far?
I'd probably say the De La Soul song, Rock the King Flow, just because everybody else likes it. They told me it's the best one, so I gotta rock with it. And it's not like it's a hit where it's played all the time, so I'm not really sick of it yet, because I don't even listen to it besides